Hey guys, Salvage King here. So I wanted to start this video real quick. I'm not going to finish it today. This is quite a bit of a project, but I need to show you what the benefits are salvaging material can be to your sunken cost in the projects that you want to get to in your homestead or your suburban garden. So what I'm getting ready to do is build a bunch of raised beds. I've got the metal for the raised beds. What I needed was the wood. Lo and behold, they're doing construction on this house right here, and towards the front they got a big construction dumpster. Well, they put out a bunch of material the other day. One of the things they threw out was a 16-foot 2x12. So I've got this thing here. I've already sawed a couple rips off of it there. So they're 16 foot long, 2 inches wide. Going to wind up giving me, 4 usable boards. With a 2 1/4 inches wide, but you lose a little bit for the depth of or for the width of your blade. So anyways, it'll be just a little over 2 inches by the time I get through ripping them up. And then I'll be cutting them into 8-foot pieces and be using that to frame up at least one, maybe part of another of the raised beds, but definitely need to get one going out there. And I picked that stuff up for free. It didn't take me 5 minutes. Just had to get up there on the steps and pull it out. I also got this 3-inch pipe, that 1.5-inch pipe, and that PEX. The 3-inch pipe I'm probably going to wind up turning into an aquaponics project. I don't have a use for the PEX. The 1.5-inch I'm probably going to wind up using the 1.5-inch and the 2-inch to make some feeders for the quail cage when I get around to that. But yeah, pick up anything you can when you can. You never know when it might come in handy. And all right, guys. So sun's going down, as you can see. Got the lumber ripped, wound up with 10. Basically, 8-foot 2x4s are not quite as wide as 2x4s, but for my purposes here, saved me $100 in lumber. Comparatively speaking. All right, y'all. So we're back down here in the Mad Laboratory, as the wife who calls it is. She's with me today behind the camera, so you get a little bit better video quality than the old trusty tripod. But we're back working on these raised beds. What we're doing is an 18-inch tall raised bed with a piece of corrugated metal on the side. I actually seen this on another YouTube channel, Homegrown or no, Homes. I forgot right now. Anyways, if I remember, I'll post it in the link. But anyways, so corrugated steel sides. This is 8 foot long, 18 inches tall. Works out so you can split one sheet down the middle and then cut it at 8 feet since they're 3x12 and one sheet winds up being enough to do an 4x8 bed. The 4x8 bed, when we're done, we're going to be using them with the square foot gardening type of gardening approach, where it's all broke down into square footage as to where you plant what where to get the most out of your garden. So as I go through, I'll be marking off every foot or so on the top, just so I can run me a little guide string through there and make my grid. But I wanted to just give you guys a chance to see me put this together. This is all salvage lumber, so a thing to remember when you're working with salvage lumber is not everything's going to be straight. I cut this 16-foot rips, 5 of them all together on a ground with a concrete block on one end and a post on the other, so I could keep it up off the ground to keep the saw blade out of the ground. So, it's not going to be exactly straight. What we've done is we took our factory straight in, we've turned it to the bottom, so we can at least level that. And if the top wants to run a little bit, then the top's going to run a little bit. It is what it is. I've cut my supports to vary in width to correspond with the thickness of the board. So with no further ado, let's get to building. We've pre-drilled, or I should say my wife pre-drilled these holes. Thank you, darling. We're using 3-inch deck screws. These are about the best all around general purpose screws I've come across. You want to keep it flush when you're doing this. Tighten it down in there good. When you hear it start to holler, it's done. Alright, so that's one side put together. It's pretty flush this way. Shouldn't have any trouble with the tin sticking to it. So this is going to be the outside end. This is the bottom. But that side will be spun around towards you guys. And this is the other side. I just have to make the pieces for the end, and then we'll be taking it out and screwing it together. So I'm going to figure this part of the project out. We'll take a break. Alright guys, so I'm back putting this last panel together. This one measured out 45 inches this way, so I put the middle support at 22.5, still 18 inches tall. Got one side put together already. So again, we're pre-drilling our hose. It makes a big difference in your projects. You know, if you're using impacts and screws, helps to pre-drill your hose. So here we go. That one didn't quite get flush. The important thing to realize when you're using a screw gun is the plane. You want your screw going straight ahead into the wood, not tilted at an angle up or down. Seems like a simple thing, but devil's in the details, as they say. So, now that we've got our sides assembled, the next step of this process is going to be putting tin on them. Alright guys, it's raining up out here, just about enough to make you mad. But it's supposed to rain all week, so I need to get this done. I need to get it in place so I can observe how the morning sun affects it and which not, so I know how to plant it over, because I'm well overdue for planting. I got pretty excited about planting this year, and I started my plants a little earlier than I should have, and they need a place to go, to be honest with you. So the chips are down, so to speak. My lovely wife is going to assist me today. Come on, beautiful assistant, come here. So what we're doing is I'm going to square up the corners. I'm going to drill a hole. I'm going to put 2 3-inch wood screws in each corner. I'm going to repeat that until I got it tacked together, and then we're going to pick it up and rotate it into place. pick this end up and walk it over here, kind of where her deck is starts. Actually, let's just leave it here. Alright guys, time to finish up here. I went and got some weed blocker. I'm going to be stapling it to the sides here about a foot up. That'll help keep the weeds from growing through the dirt, and that'll help preserve the longevity of the bed. So it's cut to fit. We're just nothing real fancy. Gotta pull it up over the timber. And then we'll made some staples out of some leftover insulation supports. So they come just with a piece of wire that's pre-made to go from joist to joist to keep your insulation up. They come by the box. You can get a ton of them for a few bucks. So I just bend them over, cut them to piece to length with a pair of lineman pliers, and I'll pull this weed blocker from side to side over the meat. And I'll just push that in. That's fine. All you need is just about 3 of them on an 8-foot bed. Just enough to make the middle overlap. Alright, so being that I'm going to do square foot gardening in this bed, originally I was going to use Mel's Mix. Mel's Mix is what the guy that founded the system, Mel Bartholomew, figured out back in the day, but it's basically a third vermiculite, a third compost, and a third peat moss. So when I went to the store the other day to get the ingredients to mix it up, I kept going back and looking over what was already pre-mixed, and I came across this raised bed mix. It was basically pre-mixed the same way that I was going to mix it, only instead of using peat moss, it uses this biofiber, which is, I guess, the green way of making peat moss, because apparently peat moss is a limited resource and nobody wants to deplete the earth or whatnot. So we got this, but the real deal was Walmart had just put this out, and I just stopped there by chance looking at this stuff because we needed some stuff for the house, and since they just put it out, they didn't change the price from what was there in that rack last year. And what was there in that rack last year was $3.50. So since they had that price right next to the picture of this very bag, they allowed me to purchase all 10 of these bags for $3.50 a piece. So I'm filling this bed for $35. $35, I got $26 in the tin. I got an hour's worth of time ripping this lumber down, and I got $13 in the weed blocker and some screws I had laying around. So when you go to do these projects, your sunken cost is a big thing to remember. Anyways, I'm gonna get to filling these beds. I expect this to be some pretty good stuff. With 10 bags, it's 1.5 square foot a bag. Should be 15 square feet. That should fill this up to a depth of about 8 inches, as long as it's spread out evenly. go. It's almost like putting a pool liner in. You ever done that? You gotta do it kind of with your feet and move it around. Same deal. Just using your hand, you're moving dirt. Going along here, feeling some dirt. Moving it around, it's a good feeling. Dirt between your fingers. Alright, so the good thing about a raised bed that's not always full is it gives you an opportunity to build the soil yourself. So as this is in service for however long it may be, you know, I'll be adding my own compost to it and whatever else I see that may be needed as time goes on. But that's the beauty of it. So it's 18 inches tall. I can feel that tall. My initial feel is going to be 8 inches. After it settles, it'll probably be right at the 6-inch mark, which is what they recommend. And there you have it. Dog proof, more or less. I guarantee you I'll get it where they don't get in here. But anyway, that's your basic process. I'm gonna go through here and mark off the foot by foot marks, and as I plant this, I'm gonna take little PVC pipes and cut them, and I'll be putting them at the corner of the feet ticks that I mark going through here. to give me a visual representation of the 1 foot by 1 foot grid pattern that you use to plant this particular style of gardening by. A lot of people have set lattice and trellises across their beds, and to each their own. I don't feel like I need to go to that extreme. I've seen them as extreme as irrigation piping that's been made into a foot by foot grid with hose drilled into the bottom of it that irrigates the vegetables. That was a pretty good idea, but I think once I just kind of go like Battleship, you know, put a little peg in every foot across through there, I think that'll do me just fine. It's definitely a lot less effort, so I feel like I've about got enough time wrapped up in this. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a like and a share. This is Salvage King signing off on Raised Beds.
Savage King.